Hi, everyone. Welcome to another video here on my English learning channel. So if you're interested to learn more about English, you can subscribe and give me some suggestions about the topics that maybe I'm missing and that you guys can help me out with. I will be glad because I'm probably filming as I go, as I get inspired by the students that send me different requests. And in the beginning of this year, I had the opportunity to speak again with one of my favorite students. She is amazing in so many ways in what she does and how many things she has done so far. And I already did with her some university applications. And I have a couple of students as well recently who want to apply for student programs, masters and PhDs in the US mostly. And we've done a little bit of this advising, or I've tried to help them with their applications, but in a sense that when it comes to your resume or your CV, there's not much I can do except to, change the structure or maybe grammar mistakes if you have some, make it more clear in a way. And I'm not an expert when it comes to CVs, so that part I strictly view from the point of English corrections. So I do some corrections and I leave it as it is. But when it comes to writing letters, of course, for the application, you will have recommendation letters from your professors or your supervisors, and those again you cannot write them yourself. You shouldn't. It's up to the professor to make a statement about you that is favorable and that will help you ultimately get into the program. But the thing that you have in your hands that you can control are statements of purpose and personal history letters, usually for master programs or higher programs in education mostly. I'm not sure when it comes to job applications, some of companies or institutions, they require you also to write something about yourself, like your personal history and explain your purpose. But when it comes to universities, they really don't know you and they would like to know you as a person before they decide whether to accept you or not. So these two letters are, or one when you're applying to one university, depending on what they're asking. I know for some Ivy League schools, they ask for personal history. For some universities, they ask statement of purpose. Basically, these two are similar, and I will talk about in what way they're similar and how are they different. So when you're applying for the program, first of all, you have to be aware of what kind of program are you applying to. Is it a liberal arts school or is it a MBA program? Are you applying for law or are you going to be an engineer? So depending on your department that you're applying to, your letter should be tailored in that way. If you're applying to an art school, a drama school, liberal arts school, any social sciences, humanities in general, your letter could be more lyrical, more artistic in a way. If you're applying to an MBA program or a program that requires you to show your skills or your previous experience or your desire to achieve a certain goal in professional life as a person as well, those letters shouldn't be as artistic. And of course, you could add here and there some of the things that inspire you, maybe, or you can add a quote. But in general, those letters should be tailored towards showing your goals, that you are a goal-oriented person and that you would like to enter this program in order to do something, to achieve something higher, or to contribute to the community, or to contribute to that university, depending on what you're applying to. So you have to be aware, first of all, where are you applying? For my personal experience, I've finished an MFA program, so that is Master of Fine Arts. So when I applied with my personal statement, the first part of my statement was a story about me. a story of something that happened in my life that made me go in a certain direction and that ultimately led to my application. So I was accepted to that program, and in that sense, it felt very natural for me, because if you're going to an MFA program in creative writing, your statement of purpose should show your creative writing. So you can be honest, almost as if you're writing a memoir, as if you're writing a book about yourself. So those statements should be, of course, they have their own structure. In the beginning, you can enter with some kind of a catchy story, something from your personal experience. And my student actually, she asked me, but if there's so many stories in my life that shaped me, what should I select? Like what of all of the things from my experience should I put in that letter to that will help me enter the program? And then that made me really think, because we all have so many stories that happen to us, and it's true. The richer your story is, the better your letter should be, especially if you had some obstacles in your life, if you came from a very different place and you achieved a lot in your life, or you met people that changed your life. Those are all amazing stories when you have something true, and you as a person are inspiring in that way, and so your letter should just follow that. You should show how inspiring you are. But if you think about selecting one of the things or two things from your personal life that really stand out, I think when you think about your life in the past, those moments will be like almost like in a movie. Those moments will be um, memorable, and they will come out first. So it could be, somebody that you were working in a very simple job, and you met somebody that showed you something about a certain profession, and that made you get interested in that, and then you explored more and you got into this profession. So you will always remember that person in that moment. So think about those moments in your life, and that is something that is unique to you. So nobody has the same moment. Everybody has a different story. We all have different stories. And if you think that that is valuable for your program that you're applying to, if you think that they will appreciate that part of your story, then you should definitely put that. The structure of the letter itself should be very back and forth, almost as you're reading a book. So it should be maybe a sentence about your internship, and then a little bit about what you did there. Maybe again, you met somebody there, somebody inspiring. You can even quote them if they said something to you, or if you read something that really inspired you, and then you can go back to, then I finished this, and then again a little bit about so it's all about what I did, and then why did that change me, why did it affect my journey, and how as well. You can explain also what happened after, maybe that led to another job or another internship. And so it should be like a very chronological story in a way. And then towards the end, of course, you have to mention why this program is important for you. Why are you applying? But a lot of the students make mistakes when they try to present the department to the department. So you don't have to write a whole passage about what this department is about. So they already know what they're about. So you don't have to explain that. What you should say is more how you see yourself there, why you see yourself there. If you have a very strong reason why you should be there, maybe your best friend studied there and she talked a lot about the department and she said that you would be a good fit. Maybe she's an alumni, or maybe you lived next to the university and you met a lot of students from there, or maybe you met a professor at a certain event and they told you that you would be a good fit for the program. So if you mention actual people, that is also going to be a good addition to the letter itself. So avoid explaining too much about the department and saying how great they are, how amazing they are. They already know, so they have so many students applying probably. If we're talking about big universities, expensive universities that offer scholarships, so they have so many students already. in the pool applying, and all of them are, or majority of them are going to make that mistakes in talking highly of the department. But you have to think about what makes you stand out from them, because ultimately it's the selection of maybe 10 or 15 students out of 500. So if you were somebody who is selecting, if you can put yourself in those shoes, or you know somebody who worked as a recruiter, or maybe they've been on the other side deciding who's going to pass or who's not, what would be something that you would be attracted to, or what would be memorable from the application for you? When it comes to personal histories, personal history should be a little bit more lyrical in a way. It can be a little bit more loose and personal. You can be a little bit metaphorical. You don't have to be that dry in a way. Like I said, when it comes to the programs that are very, if you're studying criminology, or if you want to do a PhD in forensics or something like that, your letter should be a little bit more tailored to that. Like I said, it's not that you cannot be lyrical, but at the same time, since this program is structured, your career will be somebody you are responsible. You have to be structured. You have to be diligent. You have to be responsible in a lot of ways. So you have to show that through the letter. Explain yourself more, your characteristics, maybe your psychology. How did the way you are help you in your career? So, of course, only high, and that is also one of the questions, like how much should I praise myself in the letter? How much should I say, it's hard for people to talk highly of themselves in that sense. So you should say, like, in one page you should say everything that you did, and you have to make it sound amazing. So a lot of people are like, but I'm not really that amazing. So that you don't have to praise yourself in a way. You don't have to be amazing. You don't have to be. It's similar to when they're describing like a person of extraordinary ability. So it's not only somebody who wins an Oscar, or somebody who's a CEO of a top company. That doesn't make you extraordinary per se. It's not the only extraordinary example in a way. So you can be extraordinary in your profession by the way your career has gone. Your career path may be extraordinary and unexpected. Maybe you did something extraordinary for your community. Maybe you were recognized internationally for something unique that is not like well known in a way. So you can be extraordinary also as a person, but you cannot say that about yourself. You have to demonstrate through some examples in the letter what makes you extraordinary. The best thing is not to say directly, I am this and I am that, and directly praise yourself. The best thing is to, through this example or through the story, to make them see how amazing you are and what good of a fit you are for the program. Also, there are examples where throughout your personal history, this is the only logical choice. So maybe you have prepared yourself for 10 years for this specific position at this specific university, and you don't want anything else. And that is visible through your sacrifice, through your work. So you have researched about this for so many years. So all of that should be put in your personal history, or your statement of purpose. The statement of purpose has this different part where you should dedicate a paragraph to the purpose of why are you planning to study there, and what will you do in the department. So if the department, for example, is a photography department, if they have a special digital lab, maybe you're attracted to that specific thing, and that will make your works better. So they are a good fit because they have that. No other program has that. So statement of purpose is different in that way, where you need to actually state your purpose. What will you be doing? Maybe if you know some professors or assistants, you will be collaborating with them. You can mention their names. You can also say if there's an institution nearby that you plan to work with or in, you should mention that. So your purpose should be clear. Why am I there? It's not like I like to travel and I like to live in different countries and meet new people. It should be very specific to that department that you're applying to. So, and ultimately, when you finish the letter, when you look at your CV and when you look at some other documents, maybe portfolios or something that you need to submit, all of that has to come together. So no information should collide with each other. It should tell a story about one person. And so when they see that, they get to know who you are from reading it. And just always keep in mind that they have so many applications. I remember the last program that I applied to that maybe I will go in the future because it's very expensive, but I really am amazed that I got in that specific application process. All the departments, so everyone from the department, including the current students and the alumni and the assistants and the professors, were checking the applications. And so the process was much more detailed, so they could dedicate their time to maybe 5 or 6 applications, and they really went through everything, including the portfolios, because this was the art program. And so if you're lucky like that to have somebody who will look in depth into your application, that's great. But for a lot of programs in some public universities, some less expensive universities, they won't have that luxury. So you will be read by somebody who already read 100 of applications. So make sure that your writing is very simple, that the things that should stand out should stand out. If you're applying for educational program, always put the education first, like never go with your work experience first, because this is not a job application. So always state your education, your awards, maybe some certificates that you won, and then later you can state your job experience or some participations in some seminars and conferences, other skills that you have. It should be in the bottom. So this is the structure of like a downturn pyramid like this. So all the most important information should come in the beginning. And then as they're reading and they're losing interest or they don't have a concentration anymore, so leave those less important things for the end. So if they don't read that, it's not a big deal. So they will not lose a lot of information about you. And then there is always that 5% of luck, whether you will get somebody who will read your application who is interested in what you're doing or who has some ties with the country where you're from or knows, the culture there, or knows maybe the scholarship that you won before, or has worked in a company where you worked before. So if you have those serendipity moments where everything comes together, that's amazing. So congratulations, you already will be accepted. So if not, a lot of the students also ask me when they are preparing for an interview with the department. So how much of of themselves should they share? And should they be honest in a way? Because there are some tactics. Some people like to cheat and present themselves in a different way that they are. So always keep in mind that you're applying for an educational institution. So they already work with students. So many young people has gone through, or people in general, have gone through their hands. So they can pretty much tell when you are making things up or when you are overselling yourself. So the best thing is to be honest. And ultimately, you should be able to find a school that is a good fit for you. And think about that. That's like 50% of the work already done. If you yourself find a good fit and then apply to that school, because maybe you saw a movie or you think you would be a good fit for a school because you like the environment, you like the way the buildings look. Like, for example, you watched Harry Potter and you want to study at Cambridge or something like that. You just want to be there. that is okay, but you always have to think about, am I a good fit to this school? Where would maybe I be a better fit? If you're applying for a school in the US, think about maybe cities where you have a bigger community of the people from your country. So, for example, if you are from Asia, West Coast is predominantly Asian. So there are a lot of universities, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, California in general, where you have a bigger Asian community. And you would, as an expat, as somebody who has to study abroad, you will fit there much better than in some other places. Maybe that would be too much of a cultural shock for you. So always think about, where am I going to be a good fit? Or like I said, if you already collaborated with that university or you research, you always have known that you belong there because some people that you would like to be like in the future have gone there, then you have like a clear reason why. And that would probably be a good fit. When they actually read your application, they will be, so that's why she's or he is applying there. And sometimes it happens that you have an excellent application, you think that you did everything right, and or maybe you actually did everything right. You are a good fit, everything looks amazing, but then you end up not getting accepted. A lot of people are, and a lot of my students that I know are very harsh on themselves, and they try to blame on themselves that they didn't prepare good enough application, and they feel discouraged. You should definitely not take it personally, unless somebody really in the interview tells you, hey, you're not a good fit here, don't apply, which doesn't happen. Maybe it happens like once in 10 years that you have like somebody that you hear that that was really discouraged from applying, but it's all a part of the game in a way. And if you were not accepted somewhere, it's probably because that year they have too many students, or they don't have their plans are different, or maybe they already accepted somebody from that region, or it can be X, Y, Z things why you didn't get accepted, aside from your application. So definitely don't, if you've done everything right with the preparation, don't feel discouraged. That's one of the things that is major, because you will have to apply to other schools, and then the quality of the application has to be the same. You shouldn't be discouraged. That should be just the motivation to push through more, or to maybe look at the things from a different angle as well. I've seen examples of students who are not, in a sense, they don't stand out to me personally. Their path and trajectory is very simple. They studied for example, IT or informatics or programming or whatever, and they don't have much to say about themselves. They don't have much to say about anything. And when I imagine their applications, I think they're very dry and very simple, but they end up being accepted and get full scholarships for great universities, and they get PhDs. And so from the movies and TV shows and in pop culture, we've seen that to get in these top universities and change your life, you have to be a shaker, somebody who makes changes in the community. You have to be extraordinary, you have to be different, you have to be all of those things. And that is okay. If you are like that, then you will have much better opportunities and more chances. But at the same time, if you're not like that, that doesn't mean that you will not get in. If you're good at what you do, and if you're persistent at what you're doing and the results show that, you don't have to be somebody who talks too much, or you don't have to be somebody who is extroverted, who is, social, amazing with the communities, collaborates with NGOs, like does all of these things. You don't have to be that, especially now when a lot of things are done online. It's enough just to show results, and some university will accept you as well. So if you're too shy, if you don't like talking with people, just the only problem there would be because you're changing environments and you have to adapt in a way and find new friends and make a life in a different country. So from that perspective, it could be a little bit hard for you. But again, that doesn't mean that you are not for the university or that you won't find your fit there. Some of the great examples from my friends, somebody that I know, and my students, I had a lot of those. And when I see those kinds of examples, I'm like, wow. So if somebody explores one topic from a very young age, maybe in high school, or maybe that topic is inspired by their personal life, something that happened to them, or the environment that they were raised in, and they manage to kind of take that thread all the way up to the university and then apply for a program that really appreciates exactly that, who they are, no matter from what country they come from. That is something that's very amazing. Somebody who stays true to themselves. So if you can, if you have this identity and if your research or your studies or your career is based around one thing and that is visible throughout your life, your sacrifice, your dedication to that profession is visible, those are the most successful cases that end up being assistants and professors and stay at the university, and they inspire other people. So the best advice, of course, is to be true to yourself. And then, of course, to polish up your letters, you can always hire somebody to do that for you. Your grammar doesn't have to be perfect. You can always edit that out later. What you should be thinking about is the structure of the letter. All right, that would be it for this video. I just want to make sure that that I'm clear. So most of the applications that I have seen and that we have collaborated on are from students who are not native English speakers and who are not born in English speaking countries. For you, you probably know how the whole application process works, and it's much easier for you. Probably you're staying within your own state or your own country, you're not moving. But if you are applying to an English-speaking universities and you are not from an English-speaking country, then this video is for you. And I wish you good luck in your applications. You can always message me and email me. I will leave the link down below. So thank you so much for watching and see you soon. Bye.